Welcome back to another Excel tutorial. Today I want to explore how to use the BYCOL function. The BYCOL function in Excel is part of the dynamic array functions introduced in Excel for Office 365 and Excel 2019. This function allows you to perform an operation on each column of a given array or range and returns the result as a new array. Essentially, it processes data by column rather than by row, which can be particularly useful for operations that need to be applied column-wise in a dataset. But what are lambda functions? Lambda functions in Excel are custom, reusable functions that you create using the Excel formula language. Introduced in Excel for Microsoft 365, lambda functions allow you to define a calculation that can take any number of inputs and return a result. And this feature significantly extends Excel capabilities, enabling users to create their own complex functions without needing to write VBA code. The syntax for creating a lambda function is lambda, open parentheses, parameter 1, parameter 2, and so on. You can define up to 253 parameters, and then the calculation, where the parameters are optional for the lambda function, and the calculation is the expression or formula that the lambda function will calculate. It can use the parameters you've defined, but I'll show you that in a second. So if we jump into the sheet, you can see that the BYCOL function belongs to the group of dynamic array functions within Excel, like I said before, and it applies the lambda function to each column in an array or range and returns an array of the results. The syntax starts by BYCOL, then you define the array and then lambda. Array is the array or range to process by column, and lambda is a lambda function to apply to each column. So what does it mean? If I, for example, want to have sum of sales and quantity, I can write a calculation summing up all the sales and all my quantity, but I can also use a BYCOL function that will go to each column and do the same operation. So just sum or just average or whatever you can think of. Okay, I would say we just start by the example. We start by an equal sign followed by BYCOL, then open parentheses, and we mark our array. Okay, sales and quantity, we want to have the sum of those two, semicolon, and then I'm saying a lambda, column, and I want to have the sum of those columns. I have to close all the parentheses again, and I hit enter. It won't work because the B is missing, and now it works. So now I get the total sales, which is 4,055.65, and the total quantity, which is 32. I can do the same with the average, for example. Then the average function will be performed first on the sales column and then on the quantity column. But I'll show you how it's done. So I'm saying average. Okay, so I see the average sales is 450 and the average quantity is 3.55. And I have to say that the BYCOL function in this case doesn't make too much sense because it's a pretty small data set. But imagine you have 200 columns and 80 of them, you need the sum for 80 of those columns. And then you can just mark the array where you need the sum from and use the BYCOL function combined with the lambda function. And then you get like new columns with the sum of all columns that are in your array. And yeah, this is basically how the BYCOL function works. I hope you liked this video. If you did like it, I would appreciate a thumbs up and see you in the next video.